We are delighted to be here today to introduce the partnership between Eurotechweek and the CNCCEF, which stands for Comité National des Conseillers du Commerce Extérieur. Bottom line is something dealing with the French trade organizations. We are 4,000 CEOs in 140 countries, and we have a few representatives of the CCE here today with Gilles Bonenfant, which is here in the crowd, and also Anna Rossio and Jean-Pierre Loubinoux. So all of us, we belong to this organization, and we are delighted, really thrilled to be here today to deal with this program of the afternoon, mentioning the smart society, global innovation, and financing. 3 topics will be addressed by a distinguished panel of speakers and keynote speakers, out of which we have Don Hobson, the CEO of the CES government. It's a massive event taking place during the CES. It's a joint venture between the CES and the Global Business Executive Forum. We will have also another leader and visionary, which is Jean-Pierre Loubinoux. He is the CEO of the UIC, Union of International Railways. It's above 220 railways worldwide, which means above 200 countries, and he will be enhancing how amazing the digital transformation has impacted railway business, the communities, and obviously the smart cities. So we are at the heart of this topic today. Again, the partnership between Eurotechweek and the CNCCEF brings us for the second year here in Las Vegas, and we've been providing this opportunity of partnerships with Eurotechweek in inviting Christophe and his team in our event, worldwide event that we run once a year, which is called the Mondial. So we had 30 CCE last year, Conseillers du Commerce Extérieur. 30 of them came at the Eurotechweek last year, and we will have this year again 30 of them helping to introduce these startups, these SMEs, to the US market and internationally. So it's a spread network of 140 countries. We will be also going through artificial intelligence content, dealing with hardware, software, and usage of artificial intelligence. And finally, we will be also addressing a very, very important topic of the blockchain environment ecosystems, out of which we will also deal with ICOs. So the ICO, it's a disclaimer here in the US, but it's a disclaimer by which, for the time being, there is no regulations made in the US regarding the ICOs. But France has a great opportunity provided to blockchain companies that are willing to give it a try to an ICO. And we will have Chainum, who's a boutique of ICO based in France, using the ICO regulations that allows self-regulation with QICs and very strict ICOs procedures, but they managed to have a use case with Dumb Raider, and they will be enhancing that. They also came today with another use case, which is this time money by design, which by itself already, the platforms used for blockchains is already disrupting the ecosystems, but money by design is even a disruptor in this disrupting industry. So we are more than thrilled to address your distinguished audience today with these panel sessions. And on the next step is really to have Mr. Don Hobson. It's a great privilege to introduce Mr. Don Hobson, the CEO of CES Government, as a keynote speaker of today's speech.
Thank you, everyone. And first of all, Gilles, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. And thank you to Eurotech. I understand this is the second year of your program. Programs are hard to start, but once they start and are successful, they have a life of their own, and they keep attracting more and more people. It's been our experience with CES Government. We're kind of a closed conference. I'm going to talk about that. I've been asked to talk a little bit about what we do, CES Government, about public sector technology markets, how, and about CES. How many of you are here for the first time? Wow. I've been coming here for more than 30 years, and I want to tell you a little bit. CES is, I have a history of going back to CES. About half my career I spent in government, about half in the private sector. I was the staff director of a committee in the House of Representatives, and our job in the 1980s and 90s, we wrote the rules of how the US government bought technology. and computers specifically, and when the internet came in and hit the world in 1995, all of that changed, and these issues that were very boring became very popular. CES is, I'll tell you a little bit about this show, and you may or may not know this. It's 180,000 technology professionals from 120 countries are right now descending on Las Vegas. There are 4,500 exhibits covering 2.7 million square feet. 7,000 media, also from over 100 countries. And I believe that we are all here and part of Mecca for technology and innovation. This is where people come. Things you see here that are emerging will be reality in a few years. It used to be several years. I can tell you that 3 years ago I saw the first drone exhibits. 2 years ago they were everywhere, and last year they had their own pavilion. You also won't see CES called the Consumer Electronics Show, because, and this will all lead into why we have CES government, what public sector technology markets are, and what the potential is for many of you in this room. Before I get there, congratulations to all you entrepreneurs. I consider myself an entrepreneur, and when we started CES government 13 years ago, my God, it was hard. But something that Europeans have in common with Americans, I think, is we all believe we're creative people. We believe that tomorrow is going to be a better day, and we believe we can make it a better day, and we believe in individuals. The difference between entrepreneurs and the rest of us, the rest of the people who live in Western countries, is we have in our DNA that to extreme degrees. When people say you can't do it, we say you can. When you ask for capital and they say no, we've heard it before, you don't quit, you go on and you find other ways to move forward. I did that, and when obstacles are put up, it doesn't occur to you to stop, but you think about ways, how do we move around it and move forward? If we shoot for the Mars, we're going to at least get to the moon. So congratulations for what you do. You're creative, and I know why you're here. We're all here for the same reasons. I call them the 3 C's. Capital, customers, and connections, which in turn gets to more customers. So good luck, and I hope you have a tremendous week while you're here. It is the world's most prestigious trade show. And now CES government a little bit is, the reason that it's not called the Consumer Electronics Show is about one of the positions I held was Secretary of Technology for Virginia. And we were the first state to create such an office. I was the CIO for the state and also in charge of economic development. Brought the first business delegation to CES that sold technology to government. Gary Shapiro and I have a rich history. He's the president and CEO of the Consumer Technology Association and CES. And I remember when I was in office, and we worked together on many initiatives and go back to college together. But I said, Gary, all of these consumer technology products that you've been showcasing over the years, a television isn't a television anymore, a phone isn't a phone anymore, and a stereo isn't a stereo. They're all built into business devices increasingly, and you may not know this. But government may be your largest customer, and you probably should create a program built around government technology that combines both government leaders that might come and speak and share their problems, issues, and concerns with business leaders in technology who can help solve those problems. And he said, that's a good idea. Why don't you do it? And 3 years later, he said, Don, you do it or I do it. And so we did it together. And we built a business organization called the Government Business Executive Forum that I'll explain, and we launched the first CES government in 2006. This is our 13th year. Our program starts on Thursday. Now, when you think of those technology products, 20 years ago, definitely almost 15 years, well, 20 years ago, when you came to CES, you did see stereos and televisions and different things. It was all about consumer technology and applications for consumers. It's still a major part of this show. But what's different today is there are specific pavilions on smart cities, health IT, health technology, transportation, cyber, B2B. There are tracks on blockchain and cryptocurrencies, which I agree with my friend Gilbert Réveillon is one of the most revolutionary, transformational technologies. It's going to change many, many things. What we do at CES Government, when we started 13 years ago, we brought the first group of elected and appointed officials with career officials in technology, and we built a program with people who sell technology to government. Now, why? Two reasons. One, it's a $180 billion technology market in public sector just in the United States. $80 billion at the federal level, $100 billion in state and local government, and there are reasons that we need to buy technology better and faster because it changes faster than government can keep up with it. So what we do at CES Government is we bring, again, top executives that are elected with chief information officers, with top business executives, and for 3 days we talk about missions of government and how those intersect with technology and what can be done to improve both the way a technology is acquired and used. And when we think about technology being used in government today, it's expensive. 86% of the U.S. of the $80 billion is spent maintaining legacy systems. And one of the top priorities for the Trump administration is the introduction of innovative and new technologies. And if you're an entrepreneur and you're seeking to sell to the government, there are 3 simple things you need. You need contracts, so contract vehicles, you need partners through which you can sell, and you need to define your opportunities and focus. And that's what we do at Upson Technology, CES Government, and the Government Business Executive Forum. And what we do is important because it does affect people's lives. Smart cities, it's about technology, it's about transportation, it's also about competition for economic development in cities around the United States and around the world. Now, for 10 years, we largely focused on U.S. government, state, local, and federal. And in our 10th year, we started reaching out globally because as technology entered more government missions, it's a global economy, and there are many, many global intersections. And I'm glad to be here with my friend Jean-Pierre and Loubineau and Francis Bedell from the UIC because over the past 18 months, I've had the privilege of being to Paris 4 times and many of those meetings with them. And for someone that grew up in a small town in the Mojave Desert who never expected to be in Paris, to be standing before you and having traveled there so many times is a real privilege. But let's think about transportation. What we talk about and bring together tech executives.
5 minutes.
This year, we're talking about, right?
5 minutes.
5 minutes, yeah. We're talking about analytics, advanced analytic applications in government, machine learning, and artificial intelligence, and cybersecurity. Think about transportation. Cars are driving themselves. I drive a Tesla. I didn't buy it because it was electric and I saved on gas. I drive it because it gets on the road and I double-click and it takes me where I need to go. And when you think about the displacement of millions of jobs by cars that in 5 years, and planes and trains who will be operating autonomously, there are government rules that have to govern the way and conditions under which those operate, and there are questions of policy that affect how do you redeploy the workforce that are in those sectors today. Transportation, healthcare. So CES Government, we begin every year on the 3rd day of CES. We do that because those of you who are here understand what hotel prices are today. Your room that costs several $100s will be $40 next week, but not this week. And on day 3 and 4, the prices go down and they're more attractive to government people. So we are a partnership with CES, much like Eurotech is. We've reached out. We have the participation of Jean-Pierre Loubineau this year because we have a major transportation program. We reach out. We have law enforcement and national security. We have the 5 pavilions I talked about. Cybersecurity is one of those things that as we move into the age of the IoT and 50 billion devices that are connected and the ability of cyber hackers to affect those technologies is what we have learned in cybersecurity is nothing is safe. The technologies change all the time. Many of you may sell those kinds of technologies. There are hundreds of companies that try to sell similar products to government, and some of you have probably really unique technologies. I have a saying that when 1,000 raised hands claim to have the best product, sometimes it's hard to see the one hand that really does. And I'll tell you what every one of you thinks is you are that one hand. and this is the place to be. We are working with Eurotech. I'm here to talk to Eurotech and you a little bit about our program. It's closed. It sells out pretty quickly. We're finding ways to expand it and expand more commercially. So we're glad to have France. We have the United Kingdom and Germany participating this year. And in October, CES has what they call CES Unveiled in Europe, 2 European countries. We will be working with the CTA on a global cyber summit at the end of October. We believe in Estonia, which is the NATO Cyber Command, and we expect to work with, maybe we'll end up working with Eurotech, and I know you, Gilbert, on bringing together a collection of executives that aren't just from American government, but are from our NATO allies and the best entrepreneurs and minds in technology in the areas I discussed. But more than anything, we're that connection seat. We try to put people in business together with government, and that's what we're going to be doing for 3 days at the end of the week. I wish everyone a fantastic week. Now, I will end, I'm almost, you'll bring Gilbert back up here, but you're in a city that 70 years ago, there was one principal hotel in the middle of the desert, and a man, I forget his first name, by the name of Wilkerson, was told under threat of death that he will sell it to a man named Bugsy Siegel, who worked for the mob, the Mafia, La Cosa Nostra. And so that hotel was the Flamingo. It's historic. He, by the way, was machine gunned a few years later because he didn't apparently pay the bosses so well. But he greeted everyone that came to his hotel with, "Welcome to Vegas, baby." So welcome to CES, welcome to Vegas, baby, and I hope you have a fantastic week and good luck with all your businesses.
Well, thank you so much, Don. Again, it's a privilege to have you along with us. We will be attending the CES government thrilling program